CVA's Accura Series, Bagara barrels for guaranteed accuracy, nitride for guaranteed rust proofing, and a rifle guaranteed to be the best muzzleloader you've ever shot. CVA, it's just a better gun.
This segment's being brought to you by 3rd Regiment Game Calls. Friends, family, and faith in the outdoors. One call at a time. All right, everybody, it's time for this week's Pictures of the Week. They're being brought to you by our friends over at Flowers Garden Center and Deer Processing. Tell you what, guys, April the 1st is getting closer and closer, and they're planning on being open right there at the 1st of April. They can take care of all of your gardening and flower needs, so get down there and get some for your own house, and be sure to tell them thank you for everything they do for us here at the show. All right, our first picture here, this is Jerry Tipler, and he recently caught this bass on the Cumberland River system near Dover. And very nice fish right there, Jerry. Congratulations on that one. And you might recognize this guy here, Dayton. This is Mr. Joe James, and looks like him and Roy Whitehead has had another pretty good day out on the water.
I know exactly who that is, yeah. He lives over on, right off Gwill Road over by Viverage Creek.
That's right.
You gotta watch him.
Congratulations on that.
And
who's this in here?
That's Deacon Alexander.
I heard this guy right here just catches all your fish nowadays.
He caught that on a 2.5 red crankbait. He caught like 7 that day. I was like, look, I'm gonna sit in the back. You just go up front and just go on. He caught a lot of smallmouth, but it's a real nice fish. He did a good job.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy. All right, and right here on the end, Justin Wheeler sent us this picture, and this is Levi Wheeler with a beautiful bass that he caught on Center Hill Lake recently, and he caught this fish on a red worm. So you're talking about a red crankbait?
I mean,
red
is it.
Red is a good one to be throwing right now, isn't it? Congratulations on all those guys. Y'all can send your pictures to us here, Southern Woods and Waters, 474 James Robertson Parkway, or get them to me on Facebook or at the email there on the screen, and we'll get them here on the show just as soon as we can. All right, welcome back, guys. Tonight we're talking about crappie fishing, but more in particular than that, crappie fishing from the bank.
And let me tell you what, there's places like Couchville Lake at Long Hunter, and you got to look at the regulations because they're not like it is on the lake, like me and Anthony were talking about earlier. So at Couchville Lake, you're allowed to keep 15, and it doesn't matter the length limit. Just like at Reelfoot Lake. I mean, you don't have to worry about taking your measure because if you catch one and it's big enough to scale and eat, you can keep it.
And most of West Tennessee, a lot of places, Hatchie River, the Fork of Deer Rivers, it's no size limit on any of those.
But you also have, we talked about this with you a lot, at least here, you know, we're pretty much 10 inches about anywhere you go, but Anthony, you could leave your house and you might be on 9 inches, you might be on an 8-inch
We got
water.
8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch, and no size limit.
So you got to really make sure, guys, that you pay attention to the regulations on the particular body of water
and that's the
that you're going to be fishing, because they're all different.
And you've got to have a crappie measurer.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that's the best tool you can go purchase right there. It's got the length on it from, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-inch crappie. You drop the nose off here in the front. It's got 2 places that locks the nose in good, and you get a direct reading. Yeah. Know exactly if he'll keep or not. He's not on the carpet. You can flip him right back in the water off the boat. Whatever, you've got to have one of those no matter what you do. Yeah, one thing I do with mine too, Dayton, I'll mention, and I know Anthony does similar to the same, but with us, usually I'm almost always on a 10-inch body of water, almost everywhere. So I take a Sharpie and I make a good thick black line on that 10-inch mark so that if it's nighttime or late in the evening or something, and I need to, you know, trying to see it, it's so much easier to tell if he's on that 10-inch mark, if you've got it marked all the way across there in black or something like that.
What we do, we'll put black electrical tape around it on whatever, and then, because you know, the way you properly measure one is you squeeze the tail and you swish it, you know, like that. And if it touches any of that black tape, if you got it marked right, it's a legal fish. Right. But now, one thing you got to watch out, I'll say this. If you catch them like we do and throw them straight in on ice, and they're just right at 10 or 9, whatever it is, and you get check coming out and they've been on that ice, they're going to be about 1/8 of an inch short. So if they don't go over a quarter, we don't throw them in there.
Well, over at Priest and stuff and Old Hickory right now, a lot of them, well, definitely Priest, a lot of them you don't have to measure. I mean, they're absolute slabs. They're monsters, man. The big ones.
You guys
Center
had a
heel,
couple
all that.
the other day, 14 plus inches.
Yeah, we had 8
several.
over 14. What we ended up with, and I think we had 9 between 13 and 14.
Yeah. I mean, when you're catching them like that in Dayton, same way. He's been catching some pretty good fish on Priest too, and you don't got to measure that fish.
No.
When he's 12, 13, 14 inches, he just put him in
There's
the
no doubt.
But,
And you know, we're talking about the jig versus minnows. I'll take minnows also. I just don't take a jig pole. That's just for something quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I've been there before, and there'll be I'll put a minnow here, and I'll work my jig floating. That minnow will be gone. The minnows will be gone, and they won't bite the jig sometimes.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I mean,
There's
that's
nothing
just
wrong with having both. We'll carry both with us a lot of times.
yeah. You got to have both. You really do. And you know, like this morning at daylight, the crappie I were catching, like I said, were literally 2 feet off of the bank, just a little steep bank.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and you're just flipping that jig, you know, just like I am. Just letting
just
it stand
throw it
back
out
up
off
like
the
we had
bank.
in that video,
And,
but
you know,
you still want structure. I mean,
Right.
most of the fish I have found from the bank, and I've spent most of my time on Old Hickory Lake and Cordell Hole Lake the last few weeks, but I found them from the bank, but yet still on structures. You know, I've moved down and catch 4 or 5 off one tree, and I'm usually searching for the next tree. I might flip a little in between, but most of the fish I have found have been in that structure, you know, sitting just out of that current against those trees.
At home, the males are on the flats making the beds right now. I can just tell you.
Yeah.
The females,
again,
they're
you're
out a
that
little
much ahead of us,
Yeah,
too.
they're a little deeper because I mean, you could tell. Of course, the males when you catch them, if they're not already black, as soon as you get them out of the water, they turn jet black.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then of course your females, you know, they look like they got a golf ball or something in them. But I did notice one thing: is almost every fish that I cleaned that day had crawfish pinchers in them. Even the females.
That's one of Dayton's favorites right there, crawfish.
Yes,
tank.
I'm telling you.
He loved
And a lot of
flipping
people don't
rocks to
think
see a
about crawfish. Crappie eating a crawfish. Now they, you know, some of them are small, but it was a couple big pinchers in there too. And you can always tell them because they're really swole up.
Yeah.
and you know, we got
Well, we got to get
Go
over and
ahead.
do this week's product of the week, guys. You get these boys wound up, man. It's going to be a good rest of the
Talk
night.
about crappie.
Let's do this week's product of the week. It's been sponsored by our friends over at Caney Fork Outdoors. Y'all can find them at cfoutdoors.com or get off I-40 at the Center Hill Dam exit. Go to the bottom of the hill and make a right, and you'll find them there at the Big Rock Market. Let them take care of you, get you outfitted, and get you down there on the beautiful Caney Fork River and ready to catch some of those trout and smallmouth bass down there.
What you got, man?
All right, now, Anthony, I kind of got you out this past year, and we did a little bit of this right here, and I've gotten more and more into it. And y'all know, once it starts getting hot, and those lakes get crowded, at that point in time, I do most of my fishing at night. So we use these drop lights a lot of times, and now I've already got a couple of these Quaro lights, and I've got the kind that, you know, they wire into your battery. Well, I wanted a couple to drop off the front of the boat, so that I could, you know, get up there and mix some in with my light up here in the front, Anthony, you know, with my white light.
Well, when I first looked at it, I thought, Brandon got him another illegal light.
Yeah.
So, but this particular model here is the battery-powered model. That way I don't have to be hooked to the back end of the boat. It'll drop 15 feet down, and the batteries are running for 24 hours.
24 hours.
Continuous run. So, I mean, plenty of time out of this. Y'all can find them at www.quaro.com. And again, they have several different models, but this one here is the battery-powered model. And man, 24 hours on chart, I think that's pretty good. That's on AA. So y'all check those out. Guys, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to open the phone lines for you. We'll have some more Southern Woods and Waters.